Hey guys, welcome to the show. Episode 4. Episode 4, Tim.
Yes, sir, Tony. We're rolling now.
Weeks. We're at a month now. 4 weeks worth of Round 14 podcasts.
Pretty crazy. I've quit jobs sooner than this. So this is good. We're on a good roll here. I appreciate it.
This is really good. Well, we're really on a good roll. I mean, a lot of people know about the big news, but we have really big news. Really
huge news, right?
So I'll let you tell the big news because you were the one that discovered it before I did. I actually got your message before I saw the big news.
Oh my God. It was I was right into panic mode. So it was Friday morning and it was quite early, and Tony had already left for work because he works before any of us get up.
Pretty much.
And I had the pleasure to tell him that Mr. Sylvester Stallone is now following the Round 14 podcast.
There you go.
Right?
There you go.
Yo.
How much better does your day start than that?
I tell you, that's better than any cup of coffee you can get, right? So
it was funny because I was at work, like you said.
Yeah.
So I see the phone, the Instagram thing and the message. I'm like, well, I'm assuming it's you. I mean, nobody else would really message me early. Like, you see this? Oh my God! Holy this, holy that! A lot of expletives coming.
Maybe a couple of little bad languages in there, but all positive. But
so I'm like, what is he talking about? What is going on? I opened the picture. I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it. I mean, it was one of the coolest things. It really was, and especially 4 weeks.
No,
4
that's
weeks.
right.
We got on the big guy's radar. I mean, so that's
we must be doing something right, Tony. We absolutely must be knocking it out of the park for Sly to take interest. And Sly, Tony and I thank you very much. And we hope you like the content. We hope you like the channel. And we appreciate it more than you know.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it really kind of, like I said in the post when I was thanking him for following us, really it sets the level of expectations now a little higher. The show has a little more clout, I guess, so to speak, and we have some big things to fill. So we'll do our end of the deal, and hopefully he's happy with it and the others that are following as well. And hopefully it grows from there. So we'll see. But it was very, very cool. I mean, come on, man. Whether you are as big rockheads as we are, or you're just an average Joe, there is a person on the planet that doesn't know the name Sylvester Stallone.
That's right.
I mean, he's been in the film business for 50 years. Rocky came out 46 years ago. So, I mean, he's a living legend. I mean, he really is, whether he likes that or not. I know he's not thrilled on the idea of saying he's a inspiration or he's a legend, but hey, he looked up to Steve Reeve, right?
Yeah, that's right.
Reeves and Hercules, and we look up to him, and he's done a lot for the movie world, for the motivational things that he does and says. And, it's crazy. It's crazy. Somebody of that stature is following our channel.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess in December, you're going to have something else to talk about when you meet him, because
you laugh.
We've checked that off the list.
You laugh. I actually said to my wife, I said, if he checks out the show, which I'm assuming he's going to, I mean, why would he follow us if he wouldn't at least check out an episode or two? I'm hoping that, he checks out a lot more. And then maybe when I get there, he'll be like, hey, you're the Round 14 podcast guy.
Absolutely.
And I mean, that's wishful thinking and a pipe dream, but you never know.
But you know what? I think, like you said, he's 46 years ago since Rocky came out. If anybody has taught us never to give up, always keep moving forward, we just got to keep pushing it. And you might get no today and you might get no tomorrow. And, you just keep believing in what you're doing. And we enjoy this. Tony, I enjoy doing this every week with you. I have a blast. We have so much content to talk about. We're going to keep moving forward, and he will say, "Yo, Tony." I can see it. It's going to be great in December.
That would be classic.
Yeah,
we're starting to get more and more in common. He follows the podcast. I live in Florida with him.
That's right.
Next thing you know, we're going to go have lunch.
Well, I can't see why not, right? So you better pick up that tab there, Tony.
Oh yeah. Definitely be on me. No, but it is very cool. Like I said, I mean, I actually posted something the other day that somebody had a Rocky post on their site, and their page was motivational stuff. Yep. And he was talking about just one more day. He was talking about his father, who was an alcoholic, and he had gotten sober. So he had said to his dad, are you going to be sober now for the rest of your life? And he goes, I don't know. He goes, but I can tell you this, I'm going to be sober for one more day.
Yeah.
And then the next day comes, and I'm going to be sober for one more day. And it's almost, one more round,
right.
one punch at a time, one round at a time, keep moving forward. It's all the same, and it all, it could all be placed in the Rocky lifestyle that a lot of us lead. And yeah, man, let's just every week we put this show together. Last week we had no idea he'd be following us, maybe 3 weeks from now, we had no idea he'd be a guest on the show.
Wow.
So
that's it.
You never know.
You know what? And there's no sense in not trying and not believing what we can do or can't do. I mean, like you said, he is following us now, and we do appreciate it. But you raise the bar, and now we got to raise the bar a little more, and we got to. Exactly. You can never be satisfied, right? You always got to prove yourself, and that's not for this podcast, but that's for life.
Anybody, anything. You achieve what you want to achieve, and then you move on from there. Okay, now what? Yep. Okay, we got him to follow us. Okay, cool. Let's get him to watch a few episodes. Let's get him on the show. Yeah. You never know. But like you said, you can't say just sit back and be happy with it.
No.
That's not the way the Rocky life is.
No.
So we have a living legend watching us right now, and hopefully you enjoy it. And we will do our best, and I'll let you down.
And that, we hope that everybody enjoys it, whether you're or you're my neighbor or my wife and kids. We do this. We enjoy bringing it to you. And from the messages we've received on the emails and our Instagram, people are enjoying it, Tony.
Yeah, and that's the thing I do like about it too. It's we've been getting a lot of nice positive feedback from a lot of people that we do recognize the names on. Not in a famous way like Sly, other people that we know through the Rocky community. But I've been getting messages, and we get messages on Round 14 from people we don't know,
right?
And we've never seen before, and that's pretty cool. We touch base with them somehow, some way, and they like what they see, and so we'll just keep doing it.
Yeah.
So very cool, very cool.
What I was thinking was, since we're on the topic of Sly. And we're big Rockhead fans, and he's put out these inspirational movies. I thought it might be fun to take a look at a couple of the movies that we love so much, Rocky and the Rambo franchise. And if we were sitting in a director's chair, now there's been talk about a Rocky prequel that's been throwing around the idea on the internet, and even Sly himself has said that, he might have a treatment. Tony, I ask you, if you were sitting in the director's chair, do you have your premise for what the Rocky prequel might look like, and what would that be?
I don't know if I'd have the whole premise down. I mean, I could tell bits and pieces of what I would like to see the connection from. I think going back, like he originally said, going back to the high school years, bridging the gap between high school and where he's at. Because in the film, he's almost 30. Remember, he was saying that Adrian's almost 30 and he's almost 30. So, I mean, you're getting out of high school at 18. You got 12 years there to fill. So it's a pretty good sized gap. But if you look at the time frame, our country had a lot going on in that 12 years.
Oh my goodness. Yeah.
I mean, so you're going back to 1962 or 64. I'm sorry, 64 to 76. It's a lot to happen. So I would like to see how, he got involved in boxing at all. What drove him to find that, did he go to he said to Mickey, remember when Mickey kicked him out of his locker? I've been coming here 6 years, and for 6 years you've been sticking it to me.
Yeah.
So, okay. So you got that gap.
Yeah.
He wasn't at Mix until 6 years prior to 1970.
Right. And I have a feeling that somewhere along the line in the neighborhood he was in, and based on the fight he had in Rocky V, there probably wasn't the odd street fight involved.
Yeah. You could definitely tell he was, like he said, he didn't have a good brain, so he had to develop his body. So he was probably the bruiser of the neighborhood. He definitely wasn't a bully, but he seemed like the type that would be sticking up for the ones that were getting bullied. And that's where Paulie came in.
Yeah.
Maybe somebody was picking on Paulie, and he went and defended him, or picking on Adrian.
Right.
And he went and defended her. I know you could read bits and pieces of the pages that Sly posted. It was not that easy to decipher, like a whole thing of it, but you saw it said his father was an alcoholic. His mother's name was Rose. Yeah. So it seemed maybe the mother was more loving at home, obviously more so than the dad. Did the dad get violent with him? Maybe that's how he started boxing.
Yeah.
I mean, so that's my thought on it. Like maybe catching up on the final year of high school, thinking about what he's going to do with his life, and a couple of things happened to come up to him, and maybe sticking up for Adrian and Paulie, or Paulie alone. I don't know. Maybe sticking up for Paulie.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure the way Paulie shoots off at the mouth, there was a time or two where Rocky had to, step in, and we see that one little clip. It's actually a deleted scene in the trailer for Rocky 3. We both came from the same neighborhood, and I got lucky and you didn't, right? So there is a backstory there, obviously, and the possibilities are endless.
There's definitely a backstory there. I mean, they've been friends a long time. You could tell that just by the way they talk to each other, and they are from the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
But Paulie does mouth off. I mean, come on, let's face it. He told Apollo he didn't sweat him.
Yeah,
I don't sweat you. And throws his bag on the ground.
Thunder lips. He didn't sweat him, right?
Hit him with a chair.
Yeah, I mean, like,
so you got to give Paulie some credit. I mean, he's got some strong will there. But I could see that happening. Paulie mouthing off to somebody, and Rocky got involved, and then the two of them became friends, and he introduced him to Adrian.
Right
now, of course, why did it take so long to start dating Adrian or liking Adrian? That's something you could fill in. And maybe even I would like to see them touch base on Mickey, even though there's no connection yet. Like, was Mickey, the boxing community, was he known in the boxing community for a fighter, for being a fighter? Yeah. How long did he have the gym for? Like, where is that happening? So it may be too much to bite off if they went way back to high school. Like I said, because that's a 12-year gap. That's a long gap. So they might have to do it a little bit after to a little bit before Rocky. But it would definitely be interesting to see. And of course, the biggest thing is, do you use Sly and de-age him like they did in The Irishman to De Niro and Pacino and stuff? Or do you go with a young actor who kind of resembles him? I don't know. That would be a tough call. I would prefer they use Sly and de-age him, just because his mannerisms and the way he speaks and the way he moves and walks, or any of them for that matter. I mean, obviously you'd have to recast Mickey.
Yeah. Well, the other thing you touched on, like I said, with Mickey, it's you could also flash back to when he was in the ring. I'd love to see that where he put the thumb, the nail in the thumb and punched holes in his cheek, and like the wars that Mickey fought in the ring. So I think that would be good there. Yeah.
And then supposedly the prequel had Apollo was up and coming in that area. Or not up and coming in the area. Obviously, he's not from there. He's from Los Angeles. But I mean, he was he went there like at a younger age to fight in maybe an Olympic fight, a trial or something. Right. I remember reading something along those lines where he was in the Philly area. And Rocky, they're interchangeable, aren't they? Rocky saw him and maybe idolized. Wow, look at what this guy can do. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot there. There's a lot that could be done. A lot of, like I said before, I would like to see the gap get bridged for there, and then I would love to see the gap get bridged from 5 to Balboa.
Right.
That one's a little harder, I think. Not harder to do, but it would be harder to really want to accept because obviously Adrian dies. I mean, so that's right there alone, that's not good.
Yeah.
And I'm glad they. What's that?
No, I was just going to say I think we both know a person that might help us out with that one day, and there might be a script that could be available. And that's a whole nother show though.
Yeah, exactly. Another show. But we'll see. I mean, it would definitely be interesting to see. I think a lot of the fans would love it. It's almost like Star Wars, like where they have some animation ones, they have some TV series ones, they have movies. Yep. And it's all different snippets of the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think that would be something any of the Rocky fans would like any snippet to piece it all together and see how it was. Was Gazzo always the neighborhood loan shark? Did he up and come? Because he doesn't look like he's that much older than Rocky.
No.
He looks, so it's, what is he, 40? Maybe? I mean, in that area. So it would be interesting. I think it would definitely get people's interest, and it more to tell on the whole story in the beginnings. Sure. But as far as the director chair goes, if I had to do it, I would want the original cast. We could get that CGI young face in there, and
they're doing lots of things with that, so you never know.
No, you don't. I mean, it could happen, or it could be just a novel. I mean, it could be a written book. They might just forego all of the video and movies. Right. I know that he was talking about a Netflix series similar to like Cobra Kai for the prequel, which I do think would be a good idea, especially if you're going to continue with the 12-year gap of high school to Apollo offering the championship.
Yeah, because you could have
then
seasons,
you could spread it out. Right.
Yeah, you could have 2 or 3 seasons where they 9 or 10 episodes a season and really get people hooked on it, right? So
and then you're going through 3 years a season or something, whatever you got. So that would definitely be a better route for doing that large of a span.
Yeah, that's right.
But it would be it'd be cool. I think a lot of people would see it. I'll tell you that.
You know what? I think there's a lot more story to tell, and there's the Rockheads would just soak it right up, right? So.
Yeah.
Even the, I don't want to say the non-hardcore Rocky fans. I mean, there's a lot of people that have seen the Rocky movies. They're just not obsessed with it. But I think if you put something like that out, people are going to go to,
Cobra Kai is a perfect example. I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of Karate Kid lovers out there that are like us with Rocky, but then they put that out there and you had some parents like, oh, this guy, I mean, my wife and I are in the same boat. I love the Karate Kid, but I'm not like I am with Rocky with it.
Right.
When I saw that coming out, I was like, oh, this is cool. Let's check it out.
Yeah.
And now, I was the younger generation.
That's right. I was pretty surprised. I mean, not that I didn't think it would be, but it's the series is pretty good on
it is
Netflix, right? So
yeah, it is. So it would be interesting. Now, as far as you the other end go, we'll turn the tables to you being a director in the prequels chair there. Obviously, the other one would be Rambo.
Yeah,
and that would be a lot for you to tell there. That would be because he went into the Army right out of high school. So right there alone, you got that starting.
Drafted in NAM, yeah. So
where would you go with that?
Boy, there's obviously I would love to see, his recruitment into the U.S. Army, Colonel Troutman. When we first see him in First Blood, Troutman says, God didn't create Rambo. I did.
I did.
And yeah, that's a great line. That's one of the greatest lines. And of course, you've got the Baker team, right? So, and I was going over the list because my memory
is picture in the beginning of First Blood.
Yeah, that's right. So Baker team, Commander Troutman, right? Colonel Sam Troutman, Delmore Berry, Ortega, Danforth, Krakauer, Coletta, Jurgensen. I'm missing one here. Danforth, and of course Rambo.
And then John Jay.
Yeah, Rambo, John Jay. So you got the team, and they're, at some point they were all in the military, and of course they excelled at whatever they were doing. That they recruited these guys to be Green Berets, the best of the best, right? So, and I mean, we want to see what he was eating that would make a billy goat puke, right?
Maybe we don't.
What was he eating? Tin cans? Or
how bad was that?
Like cigarette butts or
right?
But they trained him to kill. Period.
Yeah.
They were the best, and he says, if he's the best combat vet I've ever seen. I mean, the best he's ever seen at that age. So, I mean, obviously we see what he does past First Blood and First Blood Part 2 and Rambo 3. And, but to see that team training and then put them together and then
that would be cool, see, because you can just take it right from boot camp and go on, how they all met.
You would have them captured in Vietnam. You'd have them, there's so much there. I think that we could dive into. And again, I'd like to have a young Sylvester Stallone. I think he'd be on board with it. I think he'd really like to tell that story. I mean, there'd be a lot of action, right? Oh my goodness. Just the training alone. And then once they went into enemy lines. So I think just to see the development of that team and the bond that they had and, the struggles they had and what happens to the team afterwards. I mean, you see John Rambo,
right.
And he's, he obviously he's looking for Delmore Berry. That's when we're introduced to him. Do we see him trying to find the other members? Because we see him in the cave in First Blood, and Troutman's trying to get talk to him, and he says, "They're all gone, sir. They're all gone." I mean, obviously we know they lost a few of them over in Vietnam, right?
Right.
Some of them didn't come back. I'm not ruining the story here. for anybody. This is going to be a prequel, but like the shoe shine, that one guy was blown up with the explosion, and Delmore Berry died of cancer, didn't know he had it, right? So, but it's a story of what happened to this team. What happened, that he's searching, he's lost, and he's back to the States, and he's trying to find this team, and I think he's just trying to find somebody, right? Like, he's just lost, and obviously the war has PTSD and there's a lot of issues, right?
Yeah, so, and that's it. And I hate to say comfort zone, because that's not what I mean. Like, he's comfortable killing people, but that's where he belongs, was with the team, and with the Army guys, because that was his only family. So that's another thing you could touch base on. Did he even have, was he an orphan when he went into the Army? Right. When he graduated high school at 18, did he have parents? Did they die? Where's that going? Was he an abusive parent? Right. Or did he come from a military family already where it was the expectation to go in, so there's a lot of story to tell there. That would be because really
when you see him in John Rambo and he goes home, he goes to the ranch, right? Did he grow up on a ranch? Because I know his, with Sly himself, his love of horses and polo, you tie in the Western, and because in First Blood, you see him working that ranch and you see him on the horses. And is that where he started, right? Like, he got drafted in NAM. Maybe he didn't have a choice, back then. They just, I'm not going to pretend I know all the details of the U.S. Army and the recruitment, but maybe he didn't have a choice. Maybe they just.
Well, yeah, I mean, the draft was going on back then, where guys got drafted in, and they were not going to enlist. So again, that's a huge part of the story. Yeah. Was he not going to enlist and he got drafted, or did he go enlist and wasn't drafted at all? And maybe that the parent relationship came into play there. There's a lot of things to touch base on that could be for good storytelling.
That's right. But that's I think that's what I would do if I was sitting in the director's chair. There would very cool. There'd be lots and lots of writing. Get the notebook out like Sly, and there'd be redrafts and copies.
I know when he posted it so fast that he did it on purpose so we couldn't see it.
Yeah, that's right. I was I wore at the pause button, and I tried.
So did I. I was trying to slow it down.
But maybe when we have him on, we'll ask him.
I mean, those are his two biggies, as everybody knows. I mean, that's really what he's known for. That's what really put him on the map. I mean, let's face facts. But there are other movies that Mr. Stallone has done. There's a lot of other movies that Sly has done.
So we thought it'd be fun to take a look at, 46 years, since Rocky, and all the movies that he's done, the blockbusters and the favorites, and maybe not so many favorites that people like. They have their choice. And
right.
Tony, I love, there's so many movies. I can't decide. Like,
he really has done so many. I mean, you don't really realize somebody's, filmography, so to speak, and you think, I mean, I've been following him since 76, as everybody already knows. I've said that numerous times. I was 10 years old then. So I started watching films when I saw that they were coming out. But now, having all these years later, there's a lot of movies that I did not see of his. And it's more so in the 2000s, right? When things went straight to DVD or something, or they went right to Netflix. But he has so many movies, my goodness. Yeah. And then there's really good movies you even forget about.
Yeah, that's right. And they're not.
Oh my God, that's right.
It's there's the people that think oh my God, he's just there's Rocky or there's Rambo, but there's action movies, comedy movies. He's done comedy movies. He's done drama, right? So suspense. So I thought we'd have some fun and look at maybe top 10 movies that were not Rocky or Rambo.
No Rocky or Rambo. And these are not in any type of order. These aren't
this isn't an order.
Number 10 to number 1.
And guys, this is what we thought our top 10 is. If you disagree with us, if you agree with us, leave a comment in the chat. Tell us, if you think we were right on. Yeah. Or give us your top 10. That's right. Yeah. So we're going to start here with
Avenging Angelo.
Yeah. So this was in 2002. Madeline Stowe and Anthony Quinn was actually in this movie as well. And this was great
Anthony
movie.
Quinn Anthony Quinn. That's right.
So this was a fantastic movie, Tony. We find Sly as a bodyguard, right, for a mob man. who's on his deathbed, and he tells him that he has a daughter that she does not know that, that's my real daughter. She's been adopted. I put her up for adoption. On his deathbed, he gets, Sly's character to promise to watch out for her.
Yep, to protect her.
They don't know each other from squat, right? So she gets this character showing up at her door, this thug, right? I'm protecting you, my father. Right. It's like, that's not my father.
Right.
Other people are after her to try and kill her. Like, it's unbelievable, the action. And a little bit of comedy in this one as well, right?
A little bit, but it was good. It was definitely worth watching. It was definitely, and like you said, it's not a ton of, it's not a blow them up, shoot them up,
no.
but it's a good story. It's a good story.
Yeah, that's right.
He did a nice job there.
Yeah.
So that was one of the ones on our top 10. And then the second, not second again, we're not doing them numerically.
No.
The other one would be Demolition Man.
Yeah. Demolition Man.
Yep.
So Demolition
Man. That one there has a huge future telling story for being done when it was done.
Yeah. That's right. 1993, Demolition Man. Wesley Snipes, and Sandra Bullock is in this as well.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
So even Jesse Ventura makes a 30
years ago.
That's
30 years ago, and next year.
Yeah, Jesse Ventura makes a cameo in this.
Yep.
So this is, I picture this if you took Sly, and you brought him to 2022. This is exactly how he would act in this movie. He's an old school action guy, and he's going to get the job done.
Yeah.
There's a ton of action in this and a little bit of comedy as well. So they blow. Dennis Leary's also in this movie.
Yep.
So this is
I like the scenes between him and Sandra Bullock though.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Because they're not, the love interest like normal.
No.
But it's because of they have different things now. It's 2032.
Right.
They have different stuff that they do. So,
and that's the funny thing, because Sandra Bullock's character is obsessed with the 80s, right? So she's obsessed with it. So when she sees this tough, no holds, get my guy at any cost, action cop, all of a sudden appear in the precinct, she's just like dumbfounded, starstruck. She just can't believe it, right? And I tell you, this is the most unique love scene you're going to see in a movie. Okay.
Excuse me. You're right.
I mean, we've all seen it and we all laughed about it. And I'm sure they had a hell of a time making that movie. So that was pretty good. Right.
Yep. So the next one after that would be Paradise Alley.
Paradise Alley. We have to go back.
We
have to go back to 1978 for this one. And I remember getting the Rocky IV movie magazine. And they would, obviously they broke down Rocky IV, but they talked about some of the movies he made before Rocky. And this was, they did an article on this. And when I saw that, this was 1985.
Right.
I said, geez, what is going on here? Look at him there in that picture. He looks like a thug.
Yeah.
Right. So, but, really an underrated movie, Tony.
I agree. It's one of the better movies in his earlier stage of his career.
Right.
And of course, Kid Salami.
Mm-hmm.
And actually Joe Spinell, who played Gazzo in Rocky's in it.
Yeah, that's right.
I agree. It's an underrated movie. It's a very good film, and it actually got very good reviews too.
It did.
Siskel and Ebert and those guys gave it some nice reviews.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely something to check out. I think it was. I don't want to say ahead of its time, but I mean, it didn't deserve the beating that some people give it.
No, that's right. And it shows the struggles, right? In like in old New York, Hell's Kitchen type style, right? They're trying to get a better life, him and his brothers, right? And they're trying to get their brother to be a pro wrestler. And, the mischief they get into is pretty comical.
Yeah.
But I want to talk about that, like Joe Spinell in this. So Sly in this list, and I'm sure you guys put your own top 10 together, you're going to find that Sly's pretty loyal to people that have been in his other movies, right? So Joe Spinell has been in, there's a couple movies on this list that Joe Spinell has been in.
Yeah.
Obviously the Rocky movies, Paradise Alley, and we'll get to a couple more here in a minute. But Paradise Alley, 1978, if you haven't seen it, do yourselves a favor, check it out. You won't be disappointed.
Definitely check that one out. Like I said, that's a little more of an underrated film. I agree.
Right.
So after that, we had Lockup. The old prison movie.
Oh, my goodness. Let me tell you something. When this movie came out, I watched the trailer and I was counting down the days. This is when you had to wait like 6 months to get.
Right.
It didn't come. It wasn't streaming. They didn't give you the option.
Right.
I was so pumped at this. I rented this on a Friday, and I watched Friday night. I watched it Saturday night. I watched it Sunday night.
I'm telling you again, another underrated movie. I think at that point, he was well established. It was early 90s.
Yeah, 1989. This came out.
It was 89. Okay, I thought it was
89. And then we got.
I just thought it was a fantastic film.
Yeah.
The football scene.
Oh,
I love. And the car scene.
Yeah,
Mustang.
We got Donald Sutherland, who plays the warden, right? And he was, oh my God, like I hated him, right? When the character is in a movie and you hate him so much, you know that he's nailed the role, right? You got John Amos, who plays the
he's the prison guard,
and like won't smile. You've got Frank McRae, another Rocky alumni, right? So again, you got him in the automotive shop. So this one, Sly is in prison when the movie starts. He's in a minimum security. He's got 6 months left. In the middle of the night, they drag him out of the cell. No reason. Throw him in a truck. Throw him into the prison. Maximum security, where he finds out Warden Drumgoole. And Warden Drumgoole has a hate on for.
He is not a fan.
For Frank.
And also, obviously, the inspiring underdog music is done by Mr. Bill Conti.
Yeah, exactly, right? So loyalty, again, comes into play here. But the struggles that he faces, because Warden Drumgoole is not going to let him, Frank Leone, out of prison. He said, "You're going to spend the rest of your life in this prison," because
you really pissed him off, didn't you?
Yeah, right. He said, "You're the only man to break out of my prison before." Obviously, just a fantastic movie from Football in the Mud.
Yeah, definitely check it out if you're
working on that Mustang, right? So it's just a great movie. A great movie. What do you got next, Tony?
After that, we have Cliffhanger.
Oh, Cliffhanger, right?
Now, see, I didn't see Lock Up in the theater. I saw it on. I rented that.
Yeah, I did too.
Same thing with Paradise Alley. I rented that as well. But Cliffhanger, I saw in the theater. Right. And I'm glad I did. And it just happened to be coincidental. It wasn't anything that I planned. But I mean, with this, cinematography with the mountains and everything, and it was just, it was a good action flick. It was a another root for him flick type of deal. And talk about a villain, John Lithgow, definitely.
Right.
You're not a fan of John Lithgow's in this movie. That's for sure.
Yeah. Michael Rooker also in this movie.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Just the opening scene in Cliffhanger. Where he's climbing up the mountain and they're coming up the helicopter. You got the other guide and hiker, stranded on a mountain, and just that opening scene. Nobody expected a movie to open like this, where this girl, what happens to her? Again, these movies. I'm assuming everybody has seen them. If you haven't,
I mean, it's unfair to. I mean, I guess we could give a disclaimer. Hey, look, we might be talking about things, but I mean, they're 20, 30 years old.
Yeah, 1993 people. If you haven't seen it, you probably aren't going to.
Exactly.
But just high energy, and John Lithgow was so good as a villain, right?
I hated him in that movie.
And
I hated him, and I hated the guy who thought he was the football player in the soccer. Remember he was kicking him?
Right.
Oh my God, I hated that guy.
Yep.
Okay, so next up we got one, and it doesn't really necessarily, I didn't take it as Expendable, the first one, the original, but the Expendable series. But the Expendables, the original, the first one, not Expendables 1, people.
No, Expendables.
That's right. Was better than the rest, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And this had to make the list. I mean, this was just a fun, action movie, blow them up, shoot them up, all the action stars that are in it. It's just a fun movie. I mean, I shouldn't say fun, but
it's a fun.
You know what I mean? Right? It's action packed. It's definitely not for the meek, but it's a good flick. Good flick.
Yeah, 2010 Expendables, and the cast is the cast. You got Mickey Rourke, you got Bruce Willis, you got Jason Statham, you got
Dolph
Lundgren, right? Randy Couture is in this. Jet Li is in this. Appearance by Arnold Schwarzenegger. A funny story about this. He was governor at the time, and people were a little bit revved up that he would agree to do this as a favor for Sly. They filmed the scene in the church
Right.
I believe it was 5:00 in the morning because he wasn't on government time. Right.
Okay.
It was a Sunday morning, 5:00. They got the shadows right for him coming in the door. Didn't charge Stallone anything. Did a favor for Stallone.
Really?
Loved the idea of it. He, with Sly, I think maybe they talked that this wouldn't be the only one. So,
right.
And the banter back and forth was, a little bit of macho.
Oh yeah.
Busting the balls kind of thing. They were. I
wouldn't have expected anything less.
Yeah. So you got, that scene when you have Bruce Willis and Schwarzenegger and Sly all together, like that's the first time that ever happened. Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And the cast, and then you got them showing up at Mickey Rourke's, tattoo / garage
motorcycle,
and he's finishing the tattoo on Sly's back, and Jason, Lee Christmas bugs him and says it still looks like a black chicken. He's like, chicken? What are you talking about? It's supposed to be a raven. So
it's typical, guys.
You can see a lot of the similarities and what Sly likes. He uses the raven from where he gets from Poe, right? Poe. And he's got that on there, and he's got his own tattoos that he has on his shoulder. He finally gets to have a movie where he can have the tattoos, right? So, I mean, obviously he doesn't have the skulls on there that he had in this movie, but covering up some of the family photos he has on his arms. But, and one of my favorite lines is when he gives him a hug and Mickey Rourke says, Jesus, you like hugging a cold piece of steel, right? Don't you ever sleep, brother? So I just loved it. And a ton of action, right? Stone Cold Steve Austin's in this movie.
Yep.
And Eric Roberts plays the villain, right? Yep. So much. I mean, it is a fun ride.
There's a lot going on.
Ride. Yeah.
So after that, we have Raging Bull versus Rocky Balboa.
Oh, yeah.
The grudge match.
Another fantastic movie, right? Robert De Niro.
So interesting because, I love De Niro. Most film fans love De Niro. But if you look at both of their physiques, Razor would have no problem taking down.
No, that's right. Well, when you find Robert De Niro's character eating pancakes and whiskey, as he's starting his training when he meets his son,
right?
He's not taking it seriously. He thinks he's still, he still got it, and he finds out pretty quickly that he doesn't. Now, Kim Basinger also in this movie, and Kevin Hart and Alan Alda, right? So, great cast again. Sly always nails it with the cast, right? Like, bringing back the favorites, and just two aging boxers, 30 years past their prime,
can't let it go,
and they can't let it go, right? In the ring for one more time. And the build up to the fight, like how they have to promote it together. They hate each other's guts and they have to promote this thing together. Right. So just a great fun ride, and great one-liners, and a lot of fun, that one.
No, it is. It's a fun movie.
Yeah.
After that, we're going back to the 70s. Back to the 70s with Nighthawks. And again, in my opinion, a very, very underrated and a foreshadowing movie of a lot of other stuff that happens. Mm-hmm. Nobody thought terrorism could hit our country, or it only is over in other countries. But great film. Rutger Hauer plays an amazing villain.
That's right.
Billy D. Williams, of course, Sly. Fantastic movie. It really is fantastic. Lindsay Wagner,
and Joe Spinell again.
And Joe Spinell. That's right.
So he plays their like lieutenant, right?
Right. Yeah.
And the scene where they're trying to chase this guy down and nobody can catch the serial killer, and they're back. Him and Sly and Billy D. Williams are joking. He's come on guys, take it seriously. And like he was. Before we lost Joe Spinell, he was on quite a roll with some of these movies, right? And
he was a
great actor.
Oh, fantastic actor. Fantastic. He just seemed like he was just talking. He didn't really seem like he was acting. So,
no, that's right.
Very, very good film. Definitely check that out.
Rutger Hauer. How good was Rutger Hauer in that movie, right?
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. Like I said, I don't know if this is, if he writes these roles and has certain people in mind, or they just, I think he does. I really think he does.
He may. It's not unheard of sometimes for them, hey, I wrote this role for XYZ actor. But also, too, I'm sure he has a lot of input in casting.
Sure.
So, I mean, if even if it wasn't written for Rutger Hauer, when, you know, Hauer's name probably came up, oh, yeah, this guy, the blonde hair, the blue eyes, and, you know, steel look to him. Let's get him in here.
Yeah.
So, either way.
Well, fantastic. I mean, that's the advantage when you're writer, director, producer, right?
Yeah. You call it all, you know, you
have a little bit of pull. So
Right. And then after that, we go with a definite fan favorite of a lot of us, Over the Top. Over the top. Mr. Kenny Loggins, 80s soundtrack king.
Yeah, 1987. Let me tell you something. When I was in high school and this movie came out, and it was so popular that my friend actually built a arm wrestling table.
That's awesome.
And it had pads on it, so we could use it on the bus. Because, like I said, I grew up on an island, so we had a 20-minute boat ride. And then some days we get on the way home, you might get stuck in the ice.
Right.
And
oh, jeez.
I think the one time we were going home, we were 3 or 4 hours stuck in the ice. They had to bring a tugboat in and go around.
Get out.
No, honestly, yeah. And so we had this arm wrestling table, and it had pads so you could put it between your knees, and everybody, that's all anybody wanted to do after Over the Top.
Oh, that's so funny. That's great.
Yeah, just a great movie. I think some of the lines that stick out to me is "The world meets nobody halfway." Right. So another inspirational quotes in this movie, such as "Life with Sly." Right. So
good music. Sammy Hagar with "Winner Takes It All," and you know, good film.
Yeah.
Good film.
Yeah. Now speaking of Over Top, as many of you may know, my co-host from Florida has that Florida glow and the nice silver hair. So I just wanted to. Tony didn't know I was going to do this, but I want to show you a picture.
Now I know
of Robert Loggia and Tony. Now, let me tell you, people, are they not twins?
Mr. Loggia, I apologize about this. I'm sorry. I know you're not with us any longer, but
yeah,
I'm so sorry, sir.
But I'm telling you right now, you're a dead ringer, right?
I don't know if I told you the story about him as well. Stacy and Mike had mentioned about the Loggia look.
Yeah.
And my grandfather knows him, or knew him. Both my grandfathers and Mr. Loggia's gone, but they knew each other. They grew up in the same neighborhood.
Yeah.
And, but he's a great actor. We lost a great one there.
Yeah.
And, it could be worse, I guess. I feel bad for him saying I look like him, but, I'll take it. Whatever.
No, that's great. Does anybody ever mistake you for him?
No.
All right, moving on.
Next subject. Last but not least, number 10 on our list is Copland. And this, to be honest with you, this was one of my favorite non-Rocky Rambo films he did, period.
Yeah.
He did a fantastic acting job in this. Stellar cast. I mean, come on, you can't get a better cast than this.
Yeah.
It's just a great story, great film. I mean, those are the 4 big guys that are on the poster. You got a ton of other actors that are in it that are well known.
The late Ray Liotta, right, was in this.
Ray Liotta's in it. Yeah. I mean, Harvey Keitel. It's just a very, very good movie. Very good.
De Niro again, right? So, this is just a great movie.
So that rounds out our top 10. Again, these are in no order. That's our number 1 non-Rocky Rambo movie. I mean, I have others that are on there that, we discussed previously that are a little honorable mention type of ones. We don't have pictures for them, but, films like Victory or Fist. But again, those are older. I mean, Fist, I think, was 79. I don't really remember the year exactly.
Yeah, Victory, I think it was 1980, 81. Yeah, it was somewhere around there.
It was pre-Rocky 3, but almost Rocky 3 time period because he was in that kind of shape.
Yeah, Get Carter. Get Carter's another one.
That's another one. I mean, like I said, the man has got quite the resume.
Yeah, even some of this, like Oscar, he was so good in Oscar, right? So such a comedic role in Oscar. Tango and Cash with Kurt Russell.
The buddy flick, that was like the Lethal Weapon type of film. Yeah. But I mean, Kurt Russell and him played off each other really well, and
that's right.
It was very well done. I enjoyed that movie. That was a fun movie.
Yeah. Oh, it was. So, like Tony said, guys, put a message in the chat and tell us what your top 10. Tell us what you thought of our top 10. Like I said, no, they weren't in a particular order. They were just movies that we we really enjoyed, and we really enjoy talking about them too.
And I'm sure there's a ton that, someone like, oh my God, like Cobra's probably one of them. How could you not have Cobra on that list? And I actually just watched Cobra about 2 nights ago.
Yeah, Cobra is a great movie, right? So you think you're cool, but you're not cool unless you're cutting pizza with scissors, right?
Taking it right out of the fridge.
And some of the lines from Cobra when he comes in at the supermarket, right? And the guy says, I'll blow this whole place up. And he says, go ahead. I don't shop here. I loved it. Like I absolutely loved it.
That was that time frame where every action movie had to have it wasn't like the Make My Day Dirty Harry line anymore. It was the sarcastic, funny, I'll be back, and those types of lines. Which did make for fun, in the 80s action movies.
Well, he comes out, right? He comes out, and the reporter says, did you use unnecessary force? And he says, I used everything I had. You know what I mean? Like, he doesn't hold back. He doesn't. Like, he's not supposed to be talking to the reporters. They ask him a question, they answer it, right?
That was another. Like I said, I just watched it like 2 nights ago, I think it was. I was flicking around. Nothing was on.
Great car chase scene in that movie.
Car chase. A couple good songs too. They had a couple good songs in there. Yeah. And then of course Bridget Nielsen was the damsel in distress. And she was in it. And but yeah, it was a fun movie to watch. It was. Yeah. I'd like to ask Sly how he breathed when he had those jeans on, because they were quite tight, my friend.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, quite tight to be fighting with in them too.
I mean, he could pull it off. Look the shape he was in. Yeah. My goodness.
That's right.
But I'm sure there's others on there, like I said, that we either missed or just, you can only have so many in a top 10. I mean,
well, we couldn't do the Rocky and Rambo top 10 because it'd be, 5 Rocky movies and 5 Rambo movies, and the list would be
exactly. That's it. Good night.
There's so many good movies, and if yours didn't make the list, please let us know and make a case for it, and maybe down the road we'll make another top 10 list.
Yeah,
Sly has that many movies, people.
Oh God,
we can make the top 10. We can make the top 10 lists.
Yeah.
Right. So
actually, that might be an idea. We could do the top 10 70s, top 10 80s, top 10 90s. He has that many.
And movies. Then if you're passionate about it, let us know. We'll break down an entire movie. You know what I mean? Yeah. Message
it either here on this show or message it on the Instagram. Message us directly. Gmail we have. Round 14 the podcast at gmail.com. You could email us. But yeah, we could look into however many more we missed, and maybe some just absolutely belong there. That doesn't mean that the list is right or wrong.
Yeah, I just don't want anybody screaming. You didn't put Cobra in there. You didn't put Cobra in there. Where's Get Carter? So it's like we love them.
Judge Dredd's not in there either. And Judge Dredd's another
I love Judge Dredd. Rob Schneider and Stallone there. Action. He really he really ties in the action and a little bit of comedy.
Yeah.
There too. The Rambo, he doesn't touch on the comedy. It's all.
Well, you can't with that.
But there's some movies that he's really funny, right? Like when you see him on Saturday Night Live, when you see him on TV shows, like he has got a comedic side, and you see him on his Instagram, right? With his kids.
Absolutely.
And I see Demolition Man is one of those ones where I think that would be like him. You pull a guy from the 80s, you put him in 2037, you're going to get, he's going to tell you what he thinks of things.
Oh, yeah.
He's not going to do protocol, and he's not going to.
Well, think about it. To put it into our time frame right here. Mm-hmm. If you took a guy from, the 60s that went to Vietnam, and was a cop or something, brought him out to here, I'm sure he'd have a lot to say about something.
Oh, yeah. Straight to HR. Straight to HR.
It's a one-way ticket. But yeah, I mean, there's plenty of others guys, like we said, just Judge Dredd. There's Rhinestone. I mean,
Rhinestone.
I mean, thank God
him and Dolly Parton, right? So,
oh my goodness,
he said he had a lot of fun making that movie, right?
Frankenstein. There you go.
And here's one I'm going to do honorable mention. So he was the producer of Saturday Night Fever, right?
Oh, Staying Alive.
Sorry, Staying Alive.
He's the director. He's producer.
Yeah. So he has a cameo in that movie. And if anybody's seen it, it's maybe 5 seconds?
If that.
And so if you've seen it, let us know if you've seen it, or if you haven't seen it, or you didn't know he was in the movie, watch it again and see if you can find him, because the way they did it, it's perfect, right?
Yeah.
You blink and you're going to miss him.
Yeah. We'll give you a little bit of a hint. It's in the beginning.
Yeah.
That's all we'll say. It's in the beginning.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's he had a little cameo in there to show off. But and he got John Travolta in shape for that movie. My goodness.
That's right.
John Travolta never looked that muscular. And he was yeah, but that was a pretty good film, I thought. Actually. I know Frank Stallone who's in it.
I know that's on my wife's top 10 list.
Well, the funny story about Frank Stallone's music in that is supposed to be all Bee Gees.
Right.
All Bee Gees all day. Mm-hmm. And something happened with the Bee Gees. They didn't want to use certain songs. They wanted to just write this, that, whatever. Long story short, Frank had already written some songs. He's like, let me do these. Next thing you know, he's got 3/4 of the album,
right.
Award nominating songs, Far From Over. And so it worked out pretty well for Stallone, Frank, that is.
Yeah, that's right. And there's we could get into that too. There's a documentary that is unbelievable, right? Frank's.
I love Frank,
that is.
And also, too, he's another one that you really don't realize how much he's done unless you dive deep into his career. I mean, Frank has done, we all know him and Take You Back on the Street Corner, and then, of course, Staying Alive, where he was the guitar player.
Yeah.
Remember when Travolta says, you all right? You're in good hands here? He's like, what do you, Allstate? What do you want? He's like, get smart with him.
Yeah.
Anyway, but he's in that. But he has a lot of films to his credit. He did a lot of movies.
Mm-hmm.
So but yeah, Stallone, Frank, that is, you definitely check that out.
Yeah.
Definitely check that out. That's a fun documentary.
Mm-hmm. No, that's great.
But this is a good show, though, my friend.
Yeah, this is a lot of fun. Like
Top 10.
We did some prequels. We put ourselves in the director's chair. We broke down some movies. We're talking about, the legacy of Sly. And I mean, he's not done, right?
Oh, God.
Like he's the Tulsa King comes out in November.
You've got Expendables. He's doing Guardians of the Galaxy 3.
Mm-hmm.
He's doing a lot going on.
Yeah, I got Expendables 4 coming out later this year. They haven't released a date yet. They just say 2022. So look for that. And a lot of the cast is returning for that. One more ride with the boys.
What do you think about with Expendables 4? Do you think here's my theory on it, I guess I should say. I mean, because he's not there for the whole filming of that movie. He was there very brief.
Mm-hmm.
My thought is he's kind of like Christmas is taking over, and he's taking a step back into the Bruce Willis church role.
Yeah, or
Willis, unfortunately, cannot do it anymore.
Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm.
That's my guess.
I think you're pretty close to that. I think you're, it's going to be interesting to see how they work it into the story. Is he in it from the beginning? Is he not in it at the beginning and the team tries it and then they have to pull him into it? Because I look at it the other way. I look at, the years have passed and the team is aging a bit. Barney Ross.
Well, and you got the younger crew.
Right. You got the younger crew. So what I think, and I mean, I could be wrong, and we're going to start the movie without Sly.
Mm-hmm.
And you're going to, because they never tell you, he says, he went on Instagram and he said, I'm leaving. And Jason was like, yeah, he's abandoning us. They don't tell you what they did. They just tell you that he's not in it all.
And he's also not up in the high list of being in the credits either.
That's right. So my theory, and this is the fun part of the show. We can talk all about how we think. I think that they try and do something and they realize we need Barney Ross. So they get Barney Ross, they get Bigger Trout Mauser, who's Schwarzenegger, and they go back. They pull these guys out of retirement, and they say, "We need you for one more ride." So,
or it sounds like it would make sense too. I mean, who knows? Yeah. And then, of course, you got the worst way that you'd want to happen, where Barney Ross gets killed.
Yeah, but like I said, it's. I think we're all waiting for it. We're all excited. I'm excited. I love the Expendables just because this was a time where, like, individually, I've watched all these guys. You got Mickey Rourke and you've got Dolph Lundgren, you got Bruce Willis and Schwarzenegger. You even had Chuck Norris and Jet Li. Yep. I've seen all these movies, Jean-Claude Van Damme.
Yep.
They've had so many movies to pull them together. Mel Gibson, Kelsey Grammer.
You could also talk about the people that they haven't pulled in.
No, that's right.
There's a ton more of action stars that have not been in there that could be. I mean, Carl Weathers is one of them.
Right, Carl Weathers,
yeah. Action Jackson and Predator, and he could be in there.
Kurt Russell, right? Kurt Russell in.
Right. He definitely could be in there with the Escape to New York, Escape to L.A. There's definitely some more. And then there's other women. Cynthia Rothrock. Do you remember her?
Yeah. Well, what about
the Karate Girl?
Yeah. What about The Rock? Right. Like Dwayne Johnson.
Yeah.
Like there's a lot of people that would probably be chomping at the bit to be a part of this crew. Right. Yeah. With these guys are legends, right? These guys are 80 action stars, and they're still doing it. Right. This is the crazy thing. Like they're still making these movies, and
that's just great. I mean, that's just crazy that next month Sly's going to be 76 years old. And he's running around with a machine gun making a movie. It's like it just blows my mind sometimes. That they're still doing it. So it's crazy, but it's good stuff. It's good stuff. We'll see. So yeah, guys, leave comments down below. Message us on the Instagram channel. Let us know about your top 10. Let us know how come these two morons did not include A, B, and C on their top 10 list. And we could chat about it again. Like you said, Tim, we could have a million of these top 10s. Yes.
So good.
So good stuff. All righty, my friend. Well, anything else we got going on? Otherwise, we call it a day.
We call it a day and go have a cold drink. We hope you guys enjoyed this. Like I said, we love bringing this to you every week. And, the top 10 was so much fun tonight, Tony.
It was.
I really enjoyed it. Like I said, I think I'm going to go watch Paradise Alley.
There you go.
So
you have it?
Oh, absolutely. I have it.
Okay.
Yeah. It's a great movie. And, just a really underrated movie for its time, right? So
I agree. Yeah, go watch that one. But yeah, guys, thanks again for watching. Thanks again for the support.
Yep.
Mr. Stallone, Sly, if I may, thanks again for following us. It was good stuff. And leave us some more comments, leave us some suggestions, criticism, whatever you want. And
we're open for anything.
Yeah.
We're open for anything.
Otherwise, we will see everybody next week for episode 5.
Episode 5. Thanks very much, guys.
See you guys. Pleasure.
See you guys.